Robert Mueller is dead. And now everything he did and everything he didn't do is locked in place. Rest in peace, sir. There's no follow-up now. No second testimony, no moment where he comes back and explains what he meant, what he didn't say, what he didn't do. What's left is the investigation and the questions it never fully answered. Now, remember why Mueller was brought in to the investigation against Trump. It wasn't random. After the 2016 election, U.S. intelligence agencies confirmed that Russia interfered in our election process. Not speculation, not rumor. No matter what MAGA people want to tell you, it was not speculation, it was not rumor, it was confirmed. So the next question became, did anybody connect Donald Trump to the help that happened? At the same time, Trump fires FBI Director James Comey. And now the situation is escalated because it's no longer just about Russia, right? It becomes about obstruction of justice. Did the president try to shut down an investigation into himself? Yes, I believe that's what he did it for. I believe that's why he fired James Comey, because he thought James Comey was going to cover for him. He thought James Comey was supposed to be his right-hand guy to protect him. That's why he fired Comey. I believe that. That's my personal opinion. And then Mueller was brought in right after that. Was it right after that or right before that? I'm not sure. But I think he was brought in around the same time, right around the same time. Now, I'm not guessing and not to speculate or anything, but to answer two things, right? Did Trump or his campaign coordinate with Russia, or did Trump try to obstruct justice? And Mueller, he's chosen for that one reason, credibility. That's why Mueller was chosen, because he was a very well-respected FBI director, former FBI director, respected across both party lines, Republican and Democrat, known for being disciplined and quiet. If he says anything, people are supposed to believe it. So he investigates. Nearly 2 years. It took him 2 years. And what did he find? First, Russia. Mueller confirms that Russia interfered in the election. There's no speculation. There is no figuring out, no nothing. They concluded that Russia did interfere in our election. That part is clear. They hacked, spread disinformation, and tried to influence the voters. Then he looked into the Trump campaign. There are contacts, there are meetings with Russian-linked individuals between Trump, his team, Trump's team, and Russian-linked individuals. There's offers of damaging information being passed from Trump campaign to Russia's campaign to Trump's campaign. And they back-channeled communications, okay? But Mueller says not enough evidence to prove a criminal conspiracy. Not enough evidence. Not that it didn't happen. That's what people keep forgetting. Not that it did not happen. There's not enough evidence to prove it in court. That's a legal line. Now here's where everything shifts, right? Obstruction of justice. Mueller lays out multiple incidents. Trump fires Comey. Trump pressures officials to shut down parts of the investigation. Trump tries to influence witnesses. Trump attempts to control how the investigation is portrayed. All of that is documented, all of it. And then Mueller stops short, right at the line. Instead of saying this is obstruction or this is not obstruction, he says we did not make that determination. But then adds, if we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. Basically what he said was, if we had evidence that he didn't do it, we would have said he didn't do it. But we don't have evidence that says he didn't do it. So what he didn't say was, we have evidence that he did to the point, but we cannot charge him. We have evidence that he helped, but we don't have enough to prove that he helped. If we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. That line matters because it leaves something hanging. And that's why people are still talking about it to this day. Now, here's that part that gets uncomfortable with people. Even people inside Mueller's own team are saying that wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. Andrew Wiseman, top prosecutor on the investigation, said they should have subpoenaed Trump. They should have gone deeper into his money. They should have made a clear conclusion on obstruction. That's not outside of criticism. That's internal. That's someone who was there saying, we didn't go far enough. We could have proved it. Now think about what Trump was actually being accused of. Let's think about that. Okay, take it. Not just political stuff. Potential coordination with a foreign government during an election. Potential obstruction of justice to interfere with that investigation. Those are serious charges. That goes to the core of power in this country. And yet, no charges came from Mueller. Part of that is because of DOJ policy. A sitting president cannot be indicted. Mueller follows that. But he also confirms something very critical, too. A president can be charged after leaving office. So now the question becomes, was this investigation meant to conclude anything? Or was it meant to document something later? Because what Mueller leaves behind feels incomplete. Now talk about integrity, because that's his reputation. That is Mueller's reputation, integrity. Every critic says he believed he was doing the right thing. He followed the rules. He respected the system. He didn't overstep what he believed his role was. But here's the rub. Integrity without clarity creates confusion, because the public doesn't just want process. We want answers. And Mueller didn't give a final answer. Now add what happens after. The Attorney General releases a summary before the full report. That summary shapes the public narrative. And Mueller doesn't aggressively push back on it. He doesn't combat that narrative. Okay? That Attorney General was Trump's. And that Attorney General spun the summary the way he wanted to spin that summary. It was Sessions who appointed him, I think. It was Sessions, right? Attorney General Sessions. Okay. Who got around to appointing him, or it was Sessions' boss who did it, or something like that. That's how it went. And Mueller doesn't aggressively push back on that narrative that they came out trying to cover for Trump. That moment mattered very much so, because once that narrative was set, it stuck. Now, fast forward to today. Mueller's dead. And Donald Trump's response, good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. That's what he said, the piece of shit. Now step back and look at that. This is the current sitting president talking about the death of the man who investigated him. And instead of restraint, instead of distance, that's the response. Now ask the obvious question. If there was nothing there, why that level of emotion? If the investigation meant nothing, why react like that? Because Mueller represents something. Investigation of a sitting president and documentation of everything. Even without those charges, even without a final conclusion, it put things on record. And records don't go away. So now Mueller's gone. Well, what he left behind is still this. A confirmed foreign interference campaign. Documented context, detailed accounts of potential obstruction. No full exoneration of this president. And a country still split on what it all means. That's his legacy. Not a clean ending, a question mark. Now that he's gone, that question mark is permanent. We will never know the truth. But some of us got a feeling we know the truth. Just by the behavior of this president. Some of us know the truth. I'll see you guys in the next one.